Okay, so I was talking to some of my collector friends, and we had a pretty serious discussion about which version of the Seeker mold to get. Now, for the most part, and I personally agree, if you're just in the market for a definitive Starscream, Earthrise will be the way to go, just because he has the Earth mode jet. Now, that said, we don't be too quick to dismiss this mold. The Siege mold is also a really good mold. If not for the fact that it turns into a Tetrajet, I'd probably choose this over that. I'd go so far as to saying I'm not even planning on getting Earthrise, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. I'm okay with my Siege Seekers. I will get the Coneheads though, because we didn't get Coneheads in this line, but that's a different reason. So I thought, hey, to help all you guys who are in the market for Seekers, I'd give a short comparison of these. Now, I'm not gonna be deciding for you. I'm gonna tell you what are the factors you need to consider, and based on those factors, I'll tell you which one I prefer, and then in the end, you can make your own informed decision. So, for I guess the first part is, if you're just the untrained collector now, in the untrained eye, you'll see these two are fairly similar. I'd go as to say, if you're not the type of collector who actually transforms their figures, and there are those collectors, you know who you are, then either of these will work. Maybe just, if you're just gonna pose them in a shelf in robot mode, then maybe just look for which one is cheaper or which one is more readily available, and you're good to go. You can even pose either of them with your Megatron, or your Soundwave, and both of them will work. You can even mix and match the different Siege and Earthrise Seekers, and they are very close to one another in terms of looks, so no, they won't even look out of place with each other. So if it's just the general looks, they will both work. Oh, now let me take these two out. Let's focus on specifics. So let me just put them in a static pose. They don't come with that blast effect. That blast effect came with Aimless, if you're wondering. Definitely get an Aimless, a few Aimless figures for the blast effects. They work really well with the Seekers. So now that they're in a fairly static pose, we can zoom into the differences. So again, first thing you'll notice with the Siege line is the battle damage. So that has been a point of contention for a lot of collectors. Me personally, I don't really mind the battle damage, although in some figures the battle damage looks worse than others. But personally, I don't mind, so that is not a factor for me. If battle damage is a factor for you, then maybe Earthrise is the way to go. The other thing is just the general proportions. So the Earthrise one is a lot boxier, and he looks a little bit stubbier, just because of the shorter legs. This guy looks a lot more dynamic, just because of how long his legs are. So if that is a factor to you, look at the proportions, see which one work better for you. Again, that is not a factor to me. In actuality, their legs are almost similar in length, and it's just because of this flap. So if you lift that flap, you'll see how long their legs are. So that's not a much a factor to me. The other thing about the looks is the wings. So if you look at the wings, you'll see this thing is a bit more cleaner, just because that's the top of the wing. This one is there's a lot more molding there, just because that's the bottom of the wing. So yeah, I mean, again, that's not something that I really mind, but might be a factor to you. Now I guess the biggest factor in terms of your choice, at least for me, the biggest factor is the articulation. So if you look at these two, while they look very similar, this guy hands down wins in terms of the articulation. So let's go through it one by one. Let me remove the guns to make it a bit easier. So both of them will look up about the same amount. Look down a little bit more on this guy. The arms will both go out horizontal. Both will have swivels there, swivels there, swivel at the top of the elbow, swivel top of the elbow. Now one of the differences is this guy goes about 95 degrees, while this guy will go all the way double jointed. So a bit more articulated in that department. And this guy does not have a wrist swivel. This guy does have a full wrist swivel there. And then the other thing this guy has is the butterfly joint. So if you are posing this guy, for example, shooting his null race, you either go all the way to the side, or you go that way, which looks a bit daft. I guess you can work it, make it look, you know, something like that, but that's as good as you can make it. Now for this guy with the butterfly joint, you can actually make him go that way, which is really nice, and I use that a whole lot in posing. Going back to the articulation, this guy's wings will only go down and in, so if they do hinder your posing, you have to bend it back a little bit. Now this guy, you don't even hit the wings when you're posing just because of the butterfly joint, but also you can actually splay the wing out in whatever poses you want to make them, which is really nice. Again, really nice for posing, makes him look a lot more dynamic. This guy doesn't have a waist swivel. This guy has a good amount of waist swivel. It doesn't turn all the way around, but then can you turn your waist all the way around? Probably not. You have to lift the flap to work the legs. Legs go all the way forward, out, and a little bit to the back, which is about the same as this guy, although this guy goes a bit higher. The other way, up top, the leg swivel, the knee goes 90 degrees there. This guy, the knees go all the way double jointed, and it's not even hollow. You can see this is a folding thing, where if you fold the legs, that gives, and then it springs back out. It's really nice for posing. So again, that looks really nice. Now the ankle joint, that have ankle pivot, and so does this. Granted, this guy has a lot more ankle pivot, but this guy's foot is designed to be, you know, almost similar to Masterpiece. So even if the pivot is not enough, it still looks okay in dynamic poses, I think. So yeah, hands down, if you're looking for a Starscream figure for your shelf for posing purposes, and you don't mind the other factors, then this is the way to go. Personally, since I like posing action figures more than anything else, that's the main reason why I love the Siege Seekers over the Earthrise Seekers. So let me just quickly transform these guys into vehicle modes, and let's continue the comparison there. Okay, and this is Siege Starscream compared to Earthrise Starscream in alt mode. Of course, unless you're specifically looking for a Tetrajet Starscream, this is gonna be your definitive Starscream. Not to say that this is bad, this is a really nice looking alt mode. But yeah, if you're looking for a definitive Starscream alt mode for your Generations line, this is gonna be it. Okay, it's very accurate to how he looked in the original cartoon. It does look like a robot folded up under a jet, but that's how all of the Earth mode jets look. In contrast though, this Siege one, it does look like it actually transforms. Yes, it still has the arms and legs there, but you know, the parts, it's not like you can take the jet parts and take the robot part apart. This one is one's whole figure. It's not like a robot folded up and stuck under a jet. So yeah, so long story short, if you're looking at alt mode, Earthrise is the winner. Okay, so final thoughts. I've told you all the factors to consider. Now you guys decide. But just to summarize, right? If you like cleaner looking figures, Earthrise. If you like a lot more posable figures, then you go Siege. Now, if you like the Earth mode more than the Tetrajet mode, then definitely this guy. If you're the other way around, which is gonna be a bit more rare, then go this way. Now me personally, like I've said, I'm going Siege for my main trio of Seekers. And since the Coneheads won't be available for the Siege line, I'm gonna do the Coneheads using the Earthrise line. Anyway, it doesn't make sense for the Coneheads to have the, you know, the Tetrajet modes, because we never saw them in a Tetrajet alt mode in the original cartoon anyway. So what do you guys think? Which version of the Seekers are you gonna be pursuing? Gonna go Earthrise or gonna go Siege? Put your comments under the video and then let me know. So as always, this has been Grimtrigger. This has been my comparison video of Siege Starscream and Earthrise Starscream. I hope that was very helpful in your selection process. Thanks for watching.